Welcome to Innate Express Podcast. I'm Haig John, chiropractor in Melbourne, Florida. Our mission is to ground you in service and inspire you to serve at your very best. I am honored to share these live group recordings with you. Let's get started. What I wanted to talk about what it is to be focused and centered in our office when we're adjusting. And that's in clinic or anything. You guys start clinic very soon, am I right? No?
What year? 1 year.
A year, that's like tomorrow, right? It really is. I mean, training for anything, you are expected to be a professional, right? If it was a basketball player or a hockey player or a dance instructor, whatever it might be, you're expected to be a professional at that time. And having the skill set, the mentality, the focus, the centering is really important. And that for us that are in practice, staying centered, we have funny games, we laugh, we say stupid things sometimes and have a good time, but it's all really to stay focused. When on Friday, I noticed we had a kind of a heavy talk in the morning. Not that it brought us down, it really just opened our hearts. For me, this is what I'm noticing of myself, that I felt more authentic as myself, and it was some heavy things came up. The office felt heavier in the morning. I could feel that energy. We didn't start off with a bang. Where very usually we have people showing up early, getting in here, and I felt it's coming from me. We started off heavy. It was amazing, our talk in the morning, I thought anyway, and but I needed to lighten up the mood. So I said, everybody come back up into the front. Let's just have a hug together, do a little rah-rah, do a little cheer. And it took me out of that funk. And I think it was sort of collective. Am I correct?
Definitely. The smoothies helped too.
And then I was like, Adam, let's go get some smoothies. So we have a place that'll make the greenest smoothies we could get. I'm like, all I want is green. I don't care if it's sour. But
great. Where is
it? Over the bridge. It's straight over the bridge. Okay. It's over on the beach side.
It's called Sassy Granny's. It's amazing.
You got to go to Sassy Granny's,
we're going
right?
there when we leave.
All right, bring one back if you can. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So, bringing us back to we were present, right? But we were also, what I feel was I was focused on myself. Junk came up of myself, of thinking about this. I wasn't present in the moment to serve. We have a young woman, she was supposed to come today, and this isn't really about her. I'm not picking on her. I've spoken to her because I said, really, I had to be clear. Everything has been very scattered with her. I'm coming this day, I'm coming that day. I can't come now, I can't come this day, and a lot of that stuff, and I thought immediately, I can't have that energy here without fully grounding in the morning, doing what we do. I mean, that's from 7, 8, 9, and then sometimes you guys stay a little later, so 2 or maybe 2.5 hours of grounding in who we are. I said, because she wanted to come tomorrow, and I said, really, I do shadowing only Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when we can all be grounded together. Because I also had to protect myself and protect the people that we're caring for. Because it's all about them. They might be coming in because they read my reviews and they said, hey, so-and-so said you're really great. And, we start thinking, hey, it's all about me. I'm really great. But it's really all about them. There's some things, people might say some things and they might relate to that energy and say, I'm going to follow that energy to Haig the chiropractor, or Gabriel, or Noor, or Isabella, or Adam, or Devin. But when they're here for themselves. We don't always give them what they want because they don't really know what they want. We're going to give them what they need. There's a Beatles song like that, isn't there? Something like that. But I'm trying not to say but anymore. I heard in the movie, everything before but's bullshit. Yeah. So I'm trying not to say but anymore. And we have to deliver the goods. We have to be focused. We have to be grounded. We have to be centered and really nurture. It's all about the people that come into service. And that's the same thing when we get into clinic at school. One of the people on the calls, from what I understand, she had 1,500 adjustments when she graduated. Or 1,100 or something, a lot more than you needed, right? I was 498, At 500, you get some kind of recognition of something. I almost hit 500, but I didn't hit 500. I focused on the exams. Getting 25 exams is a lot harder than you think. Oh, you only have to get 25. 250 sounds like so much more. You get 250 like that. The exams, I focused on them, and I ended up with something like 45, 50 exams. I was trying to give them away. The beginning of quarters, people, because I finished all my clinic requirements in a quarter and a half. And I was trying to give away things, and people were like, oh, no, I'll be fine. End of the quarter, hey, I need it. No, you missed out. I wouldn't give it to that person anyway because I care about my people. I would go to give them to the person that I know they're going to get the best care from. And I was like that in clinic when I was a student. I'm like that now. I love these people. I want them to get the most out of what they're expecting, which is chiropractic and being focused and centered. When you were talking about going and covering PI clinics, I did the same thing. I call it turning tricks. You're out and, I went to some pretty shady areas around Orlando and covered practices. I didn't go through the services. I called some of these places up and just said, hey, because they take half of your money when you go to a service. I'd call them up and say, hey, do you need some coverage work? Chiropractors don't last long in those places because they're so heavy. So I'd go and do a couple of weeks there. I'd name my price. They'd give me anything I wanted pretty much. And you try and educate the people. But, to make a long story short, those places, once their insurance runs out, they hit 36 visits or what have you, they want the lawyers to settle. All right, let's get this moving. We want your money. And you're powerless as the chiropractor really in there. You really are powerless. So it's not doing much to serve you to accept the experience, but the money is, you're able to make money and survive and thrive and build your own practice. And that's a very good thing, so you can do things your way. So I'm happy for you and your experience and glad you have a chance to have a vision of some of those things.
It's an odd way to grow.
No, but it's a good way because now you know what you don't like.
Yeah.
Now you can
It is.
okay, I want this.
And go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're absolutely right, and that's something I have to very consciously remind myself of because when you're in the thick of it, there is a wrongness to it that is pervasive.
And I have to say, I felt dirty.
And it's plaguing.
And they don't they don't take care of their chiropractors very well either. The front desk staff is always nice. They don't pay the chiropractors well, and they are kind of treated as an afterthought because a lot of these places there's a big chain in particular, and your paths will cross. And they really push their neurosurgeons and their orthopedists, and they have chiropractors, but they don't publicize and they don't treat them with any sort of parity.
Yeah, you're low.
$250 a day.
Ouch.
Doctor's responsibility at $250 a day.
So my suggestion is to start making those phone calls yourself.
Oh yeah.
I demanded $500 a day plus transportation. So they have to pay my gas and the tolls, and I give them the receipt at the end of the week. So go in and demand it. I used to also bring in my own paperwork at some of the really shady ones, I have to say. I'd bring in my own paperwork. I'd fill it out my own way. We got called by one company, insurance company didn't want to pay, so the attorney for this little, PI place, called me in, and all my paperwork was rock solid. This is what I did. This is where we are. I made sure everything was, all my T's were crossed. I wrote clearly, just to protect myself. If you don't want to go through that stuff in life, you don't need to. I didn't have big investments to start a practice. I opened my practice with $10,000. And my mother said, if I'm going to give you money, she gave me $5,000. My father gave me $5,000. If I'm going to give you money, you also have to pay off your credit cards. I was like, I need more money, Mom. Because I had to pay off. I just graduated from chiropractic college relatively. I was practicing in Manhattan first with my dad, living in my dad's apartment. And I was doing house calls in the Upper East Side of Manhattan with my table. And I left. It was 7 degrees and sleet. did my appointments with my hat pulled over my eyes and looking through the fibers of my hat because the sleet was ripping the skin off my face. And the doorman, if you ever want to practice in the Upper East Side or in Manhattan, is really go adjust the doorman first. And once you're in with the doorman, you're in like Flynn. So I knew how that system worked because that's where I grew up. But it's hard. But rent there, to pay for a place the size of this rug, would be hundreds of thousands of dollars. It would be incredible. So I did that when I came here. I just went out and earned as much money as I could until I didn't have to do it anymore. And my wife will tell you, I used to jump up on a Thursday morning. We didn't have anything planned, and I'd call some people up that have PI practice. Hey, you got any work for me today? And no, but my Jean-Pierre does, or Jean-Paul. There were a lot of Haitian practices there, and they would send me to somebody. But I would do it. I'd get bored on a Thursday or a Tuesday, and I'd go and just work somewhere. But I had to just cut that off. I had to focus 100% on my practice. When the time was right, 100%. Can't do that very long because it does hurt your soul. It really does. You'll also feel I have so many people that have been through all of this and say, I have no insurance left. I don't know where to go. I'm not better. What do I do? I said, you have to show up. You just got to, you got to pay for it. If you expect something free, you're going to get what you pay for, right? So we have to be in balance too. I want to help the people that come in that have absolutely nothing. And we do. We are the chiropractor for the homeless shelters here, Genesis House. It's for women that have nowhere to go. They're usually pregnant or have small children. So I give them free care. If homeless people come up, we have homeless people here. Most of them are not from this area. They're from all over the place, but who wouldn't want to be at the beach? So they come in, they get care. I'm not going to deny them care. And if some people really have some real liabilities and they are not able to, but if they come in with a Gucci bag, I have a woman, she got a new BMW and a new Coach bag. And she was paying $15 for her and her children because there was a time she was struggling, and I know she was. And he said, well, I've got to take you off my scholarship now. It's time to get off the scholarship. We got to pay full price. And she had a fit. She hasn't been back. But she could afford a $1,500 bag, a $50,000 car, and you're complaining about my work? No value. I didn't build enough value for her. We were unbalanced, and she's probably paying full price somewhere else, but we were unbalanced. So when I wanted to balance the scale, she decided to move on, and that's absolutely fine. When people move out of your lives, they're out of there for a reason. And there's a lot of stuff about retention, and right now I see on Facebook, and everybody's got a plan for retention. Retention's no good, but if you're convincing someone to stay that doesn't really want to be here, what have you really done? You've hurt your practice, and you're sacrificing the people that we're really talking about that really want to be served. I'm not going to have a trip line at the door and use NLP or neuro-linguistic programming to trick some people's minds to stay or whatever. I think that's mean, really. People that want to be here will be here. Now, we see a high volume of new people in the office, and people say, you see that many people, you should be seeing 10,000 people a day, and you would be. But, 50, 60 new people a month, I'm going to tell my truth about that back here. What we talked in our talk yesterday was really about raising our fees now, because we do have a lot of new people coming in. Raising up a little bit, that's really claiming our value is important. So we're talking about that right now. I'm not going to jump in with both feet. I'm going to think about it a little bit, raise our prices, and make a few changes. But,
I'll tell you what I've been doing.
What's that?
Well, there's a few things that I've copied because it's psychologically comfortable.
Good.
But what I have started doing, and it's working well, is I tell people a range. If they say, hey, how much is the first visit? I say, well, it's going to be between $125 and $285, depending on what the exam shows. So if I have to order a Grosdic series, $285.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is cheap for Grosdic.
It is. Usually about $400 plus for, I know from Nuka.
$400 to $500, yeah.
$400 to $500, right? Because there's a lot of labor and expertise. You're an expert at looking at those films. It takes a lot of training. You might do it in 5-10 minutes or less because you know how to do it. You've done it thousands of times, so they're paying for that expertise. The amount of training you put into your life of showing up here at 7 a.m. You're building your own value. Now, we talked about this on Friday about, I had a friend that was just pure activator, and he charged $125 for a visit just out of school. He didn't have a thriving practice, and he ended up doing something else because he really didn't have the value built into himself yet. I have to say it. The value in the technique, that's one thing. And someone coached him, probably said, charge $125 a visit. You deserve it. For 45 seconds and a couple of arm tests, and less than a year of experience in doing it. Start off what Sid Williams said, get to 500 and then turn up the volume. Turn it up. That's what he said, Sometimes you got to give a few deals. Make it, another thing Sid Williams said, I'd rather hear the tables popping than being in silence, right? I'd rather hear things moving, keep yourself moving than sitting around practicing your crochet, right? There's value somewhere in that, but not in a chiropractic practice.
The other day, I saw a video. You might have saw it on Facebook. This doctor, he's an upper cervical doc, but he felt stuck in his practice. He's been in practice probably 10 years, 6-10 years, and he felt stuck. And he tried just going and learning about these other modules. Just refreshing full body, full spine, things that he had forgotten about. And he said, are you serving your patient or are you serving a technique?
That's exactly it.
And that stuck with me. Because, he said, I was feeling stuck. I was feeling like my patients, some of them were getting better, but some of them weren't. And I felt like, okay, I'm attached to this technique and I'm good at it, but it's not working for all of them. So making the commitment to relearn other stuff was a big step for him. He was just telling about the chiropractic that could benefit from that.
That's why, Arno Bernier and MLS, he was my mentor. I was on staff with him, since I was in 10th quarter, really. And we've done hundreds of seminars together. I really feel that was his approach, is really saying this is an approach you bring to your techniques. And being a master, hi there, master in your craft. You're working towards mastery. I have no idea what mastery is truly like because every day I'm getting better. But I have been working towards mastery since the very beginning while I was a student. And I feel like you are too. But working at mastery, being a master craftsman in what we do, not just a technician, not just pulling a switch. I remember you and I had that technician talk when we first started together years ago.
Oh, that AO table.
Yep. You can put someone on a table, line them up here, and do everything here, and press a foot pedal. There is no mastery in that whatsoever. You can train nearly anybody to do that. I'm sorry.
It was really difficult to do well, believe it or not.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure. And I'm making light of that. And I've been trained with the Laney machine, and I've been trained with the Sweats machine. And there is knowledge of application as well. I'm being very good at it. And I'm not taking away from it. Everything with greater skill is better, and I realize that. But still, we're not looking for greater technicians. We're really creating mastery in people. Being a master craftsman. I've sold this story 1,000 times about my father in his deathbed at Sloan Kettering in Manhattan, the greatest, cancer treatment centers in the world, and my father just being saddened by, he said there's no such thing as a doctor any longer. They're just technicians. These people are making millions just being a technician, but not being the craftsman in what they do. So to me, that's completely empty. Thank you for listening to this episode of Innate Express Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share with your friends. Together we can change the world.